Hello and welcome to a special episode of Talking About Walkers. And this is your host, Kinte, and I'm joined with my main men all the way from Atlanta. We got
Yardley in effect. Everything's good, man. What's going on, y'all?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. We're going to be joined soon by Olaf, the Great One.
Olaf, you there? All right, so we're waiting for Olaf to join us. Man, we got a great show today. We have a guest from Walking Dead. You know him as Patrick. His name is Vincent Martella. He'll be joining us momentarily. So, and while we wait on Olaf to join us.
Well, technology is not my friend tonight, so I'm here.
There you go. There you go. There you go. You gotta love a live show, man.
Oh yeah, it's like the you have to remember to do the chant. Technology is your friend. Technology is your friend. Except for tonight.
Except for tonight, yeah. Technology is not your friend, homie. All right, so also, we got to let our people know that it's a live show. And you know what that means is you can call in and let your voices be heard. And the way you do that is by dialing area code 347-326-9541. Once again, that's area code 347-326-9541. And remember, you got to press 1 to be entered into the host queue. You've got to do it. So also, too, if you want to enter in our chat room where, we'll give you a shout-out, you can do that as well by doing the way you do that is you have to go to the Blog Talk Radio page. That's if you're listening via there on our website. Scroll down, and the chat room will magically appear. Once the chat room has appeared, then you are able to chat, and you have to do that either within Blog Talk Radio, a free Blog Talk Radio account, or your Facebook account. So I know you guys like to come in, and you're in there as guests, whatever number it is. But come in let people know who you is. Like we have Jen Rocky in. I see Yardley, of course, and Melanie Smith is in there. So make sure you come in the chat room. Log in, you can do it through your Facebook or you can do it through the Blog Talk Radio, and we'll give you a shout out. All right. So, with all that known, you love live radio. Yardley, we have some chat. We have some shout outs tonight.
Oh, absolutely. As always, we want to show love to the people in the Walking Dead community. So first, I want to give a shout out to the Walking Dead fans group headed by Cindy Brooke Sullivan. We also want to give a special shout out to the Walking Dead Brain Stew headed by Rachel Jamie Chavez. And a shout out to Anna, who's going to be on our show tonight. She is representing the Walking Dead Collection Vault. And last but certainly not least are our good friends over at Total Nerd Takeover. We want to give a shout out to those guys as well. And you can find them on Facebook and on Twitter at TNerdT.
All right, make sure you do that. And also, too, remember this, now we have a different setup than we normally have been doing. And if you look to the left of the screen, you'll see we have our follow buttons. So you can actually click those buttons and it will automatically follow either of us on Twitter, or you can click it and you can follow the show as well. It's on top. So please, we want to get some followers. We trying to build up our following.
We like stalkers. Most people don't like stalkers, but we like stalkers.
I see Joe Harp coming in the chat room. What's up, Joe? Unfortunately, is that bad that we like stalking? We like stalkers?
No, I think it goes along with what we do.
All right, so our guest will be joining us momentarily. He was on the road, and he's just going to pull over and come in. So don't worry about that. But okay, so last night's episode, man, that was crazy. It started out with our guest, gnawing on some of the prisoners over there. We need to give them a name. Like, they don't have, like, a name, you know what I mean? Like, remember the Woodsbury folks, I mean, is there, what's the prison gang's name?
Well, I don't know.
They've not been given a name yet, so it's like, I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, while we figure out a name, one of the things that we were talking about at the end of the show last night, we were talking about why didn't the walkers that were burned up with the gasoline, why didn't they turn into walkers? And I did a rewatch today, and when Tyrese looks into the prison cell where Karen was, you can plainly see on the pillow where the bed was, it was like it was a blood spatter there, as if they were shot in the head first, then dragged outside and burned up because of the potential of the virus. So they were both, they were both shot in the head before they were burned.
So that would explain all the blood trail dragging them out then.
Yeah.
Do you think they saw it coming, or was it like they were sleeping? Pow!
Yeah, I think they weren't feeling well and probably dozed off to sleep.
They went to sleep forever.
But you would have to. Here's the thing: that one of the reasons why some people were saying, maybe it could have been Carl, is if you think about it, he's the only one who had a silencer on the show. You remember? You remember from last season, he had the silencer, because that was one of the things I was wondering is, how could there have been a gunshot and nobody heard it? When we know that the sound does carry, because that was one of the reasons how Rick knew that there was an attack going on. It was that guy shooting that shotgun. So, I don't know.
Well, but they could have done, in other words, but Carl didn't have his gun back yet. At that point in the show, he didn't have his gun back yet, unless he'd snuck it out.
Oh, that's true.
But now, if you remember when Carol, it's like, took care of, Lizzie's dad, she stuck the knife in his ear, not through the skull, but she jabbed him through the ear. So they've come up with, a different way of killing him, I guess. You jab him in the ear, and if you did that, there'd be a lot of blood, and there wouldn't be any noise.
Oh, yeah, and Jen Rocky in the chat said that Rick had a silencer, too. I forgot about that black, the police flashlight.
Right.
You guys remember that one?
Right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, I don't know, maybe someone might have had access to those guns, but I just did find it kind of odd that, nobody would have heard that.
Well, like I said, they could have used it. Like I said, knife in the ear would be a lot of blood and no noise.
Yeah.
Baseball bat, just a thud or a baseball bat, a thud or two. That'd be it.
All right, so it looks like our guest has arrived. Hello, Vincent.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. You are on the air. We are here with Vincent Martella, who played Patrick on The Walking Dead. How's it going, man? So glad that you come and joined us on the show.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'm glad to hear that people enjoyed the episodes.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot. You have a chat room full of people that are looking to pick your brain, no pun intended, about what you did last night on the show. But, man, before we get really heavily into your stint on Walking Dead, we just want to wish you a happy birthday, because we heard that you just turned the ripe age of 21.
Yeah, that was my birthday last week, so thank you very much.
See, if I knew earlier, I would have had like a zombie cake for you.
I would have loved that
being
too.
That you
had to have like strawberry filling in there, like that looks like blood.
Right.
So also to people, one is they know you from The Walking Dead. Also, you're the voice of Phineas on Phineas and Ferb, as well as you were on Everyone Hates Chris. All day, people have been asking, you gotta, ask them about that, about those two shows. So we're gonna, ask you some brief questions about those two projects as well. But we mainly focus on The Walking Dead. Is that cool?
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool. All right, so you know what? Let's go ahead. How did you first get the call for Walking Dead? Was it just a regular audition?
Yeah. They kind of sent me some material to see if I had, some of the same ideas for this character as they had, and luckily we had very similar ideas about how this character was going to be brought to the screen. And once they kind of agreed with my vision and with their vision too, I flew out to Georgia. They gave me some scripts, and we started discussing, the things that my character would have to do and how that would affect the others inside the prison and what it meant and what needed to be done. And then we got to work.
All right. So now Yardley, who is from Atlanta, he's actually there right now. So he's at the scene of the crime. Had you ever worked in Atlanta before?
No, I hadn't. I'd been there before, but I'd never worked there. And we actually shoot just outside of Atlanta. It's about like an hour outside of Atlanta. It's in Sonoy, Georgia. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what was it like? How did the people greet you on the set and whatnot? We hear it's a really good set.
Oh my gosh, everyone was so welcoming, and everyone just made me feel so at home. And they were really generous to work with. They gave a lot to you, and it's, when you're on a set where everybody's bringing their A game every single day, it just makes you a better actor, and it makes you work harder. And being in that environment, it was great. I wouldn't take anything else over it.
Oh, that's cool. So when you got to Georgia, what was the weather like when you arrived? Was it warm down here, or?
Yeah, it was definitely very warm. It wasn't crazy hot yet because it was just the beginning of summer was starting, so it hadn't gotten too humid yet, but it was definitely warm.
Okay, well, from the end of the first episode, 30 Days Without an Accident, when the infamous shower scene when you fell out and succumbed to the virus that you had.
Yeah.
How long did it take you guys to shoot the D Block sequence with you in it in its entirety?
Well, obviously we shot those on separate days and everything because, the first shower scene was in the first episode, and then the second episode is when we shot all of the really intense D-Block stuff. And it took a couple of days to do everything once it was all said and done. The big attack on the prison, though, that has, kind of all of our main characters rushing in and battling with all the walkers, that took almost all day to do, just that sequence alone, because it was so complex and there was so much going on and so much FX makeup, and it was a really, really cool experience getting to shoot something like that.
When you got the script, was there some type of a loose backstory or anything like that for Patrick, or was that something that you had to come up with in your own head to kind of, drive the direction of how you wanted to portray the character?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely an amount that I came up with for my own sake, just when I was even trying to get the role. But then once I got on the set, they gave me more of a backstory of who he was as a person, not necessarily where he comes from and what's happened to him in the apocalypse so far, but just who he is and how that makes him react around characters like the ones that people already know on The Walking Dead. So it was things like that would help me kind of find out who this character was.
And you were a big fan of the show from the beginning, huh?
Yeah, I've been watching the show since the very start. So to get to work on it, I know I'm super, super lucky.
Now, let's go into the episode, the first one, 30 Days Without an Accident.
Yeah.
The one of your early scenes, you reach out your hand to shake Norman Reedus' character, Daryl Dixon, and he sticks his fingers in his mouth and reaches his hand out, I was sitting there for you. I was like, man, I would have knocked his butt out when he did that. But your character's just like, hey, okay, just shakes his hand.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Patrick is he is so excited to meet Daryl, or to talk to Daryl rather. And he just admires him. He knows how much Daryl's doing for the group now, because Daryl's kind of taken the position as the leader when it comes to going on runs. Now that Rick is kind of back at the prison, being more with Carl because he's being more of a father. So Daryl's really taking the lead. And so to get a chance just to talk to him and thank him for all the things that he is doing was a big deal to Patrick. So even with Daryl licking his fingers, I'm still super excited to get to shake his hand.
Well, he did bring you that deer meat, so
exactly.
If you bring me deer meat, then you can lick your fingers and shake my hand, I guess, right?
That's the trade-off, yeah.
Okay, so you and your character and Carl's character were really tight, and you really got to see how close they really were after your character expired, because when he was trying to figure out what religion your character was and all of that good stuff. It's kind of unfortunate, that your character didn't last as long, because it would have been really cool to see him, Carl and Patrick, their relationship, because, he's really, outside of Sophia, he really hasn't had a young person to bond with. So did you? Was it told to you beforehand that him and Carl had bonded so closely?
Yeah, it was definitely an important part to start off the season, especially to show that Carl. It's been a lot of time. It's been about 6 or 7 months since the end of season 3, and if you remember from then, Carl was really losing himself. He was losing his mind, and he ended up killing another person. And so it was really important to Rick and to Carl, for Rick's sake, that he make new friends, and he ends up making a friend in Patrick. It's an important thing to show, to demonstrate that he has been trying and he's been working on it. And now, once again, the person that he's closest with, who is his age, who he's been adjusting to becoming a kid again, gets murdered, or gets, turned into a walker, rather. And so it's a big deal, because it's just another emotional trial he has to go through.
Olaf?
Okay. Yeah, Vincent, it's like I was let's go a little bit farther into after the shower scene, and then you woke up and you go in, and when you went into the cell and took a chunk out of that fella's neck, what was that like for you to go in there and to bite? I know it wasn't really him, but it's like, to bite that guy on the neck, what was that like for you?
Did it taste good?
Did it taste like chicken, or was it ham, or what? That's my question. It's like, did it?
It's definitely one of the weirdest experiences I've had on the set, because, you don't really get to do something like that everywhere. It's something very specific to a show like The Walking Dead. But it was really cool. I really enjoyed getting to learn about that process, about, how the FX makeup works, and how scenes like that are actually shot, because I've never really done something of the horror genre like this before. And, it was there was multiple layers before I actually got to his real neck, obviously, and there was a, blood rig hooked up to it where it would squirt blood out, and, the blood's just corn syrup, so it's just really sweet. It tastes like candy, right, kind of. And then, all his different organs and body parts were made out of various types of meat and other materials that make it look really, really amazing. Like, being on that set, it looked even crazier than I think it looked on camera, because, that room was filled with blood. I had blood all over me, and it was just a really wild thing to see firsthand.
Was there a lot of rehearsal going into it, or did you just chow down?
Yeah, no, there was definitely a lot of rehearsal leading up to it, and then we only had, 1 or 2 shots to actually get it, because it is so complex, and because once you start messing with blood spatter getting all over your scene, it's hard to match that for continuity. So you really only get a couple of shots at something like that. So we rehearsed it heavily, and then we actually did it, and we only had a certain amount of times to be able to get it right. And luckily, it turned out really, really well.
Okay, now after you got a taste of the neck, then you really started digging around in his stomach and everything. It's like getting the neck meat there. Then you decided you needed something a little more filling or something? Is that why you went into the stomach and stuff?
Well, you mean Wild Patrick, not not Vincent.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing about the walkers is when they're feeding, it's important to remember they're not thinking about food the way that humans think about food. They're not like, oh, this is a meal, and I think I might have a little bit more. They're running on animal instinct, and so it's like they're feeding on prey. So it varies how much they're going to eat from a corpse. You know, you've seen past walkers eat an entire corpse even if they're hungry enough. And so it's more so like an animal is like attacking prey and just aimlessly just ripping, you know, better and better chunks of flesh off that it smells and senses and wants to eat. So that's what happens there.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Vincent, well, one of the scenes that kind of stuck out to me was the scene when your character, Patrick, decided to go to story time instead of hanging out with Carl. The way that I kind of interpreted that scene was Patrick was, you know, already in the know about Carol teaching the kids about the knives. So I just kind of felt like Patrick was probably a lot tougher than a lot of people would give him credit for, because it seemed like he was very interested in learning to protect himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that reflects on him, having that longing to want to be able to always protect himself. Like, he knows that it's dangerous, and he knows that it's really tough, and so he wants to make sure that he is as protected as possible, because anything can happen at any time. You're kind of living in the worst scenario you could be living in, and there's danger all around you, and so it's important to him. He's smart enough to know, while being still a little mature, he is smart enough to know that he needs to learn how to properly protect himself at all times.
Now, as we established, you're 21 years old, but I think you can say you marked off quite a bit of stuff on a bucket list. I mean, you did the sitcoms, voiceover, animation, and now you've got a chance to play a zombie. You know, so I mean,
and died at the hands of Daryl as well.
Right,
he got shot in the head.
So you got your bucket list is. I mean, I have to imagine you've got a lot of stuff scratched off of it. Now, how impressed were you the way you looked as a walker? I mean, I thought they did an excellent job of the way they made you up and stuff. And you know, you looked very, very menacing.
Yeah, no, I was definitely blown away when I was sitting in the makeup chair. I mean, the FX team on Walking Dead is amazing, and the man who directed me in the first episode that I did, Greg Wuliger, is kind of a master of horror, and he's been doing FX makeup for years and years. And so that team has honed in such an amazing way to have this art of making the walkers, and they know exactly what they're doing. Like they make normal people look like hideous monsters, and I was definitely really freaked out when I first saw myself. It was incredible, actually, getting to see myself look like that.
Well, having an opportunity to be involved with the makeup process there, is it something where you could truly get an eye for how experienced these guys are? Like, does it run like a well-oiled machine when they're getting people ready to be zombies?
Yeah, it does. I mean, because mind you, they have to make a lot of walkers every single episode, and they're very, very distinct the way that they have to make a lot of them. Like you can tell throughout the progression of the series that the walkers are getting more decayed because time has gone on since the initial outbreak. Like they really, really, really take their time and make the detail of every single walker as gruesome and on point as they possibly can.
Now, were you tempted when you were all made up to, maybe go to the grocery store or, or go, just allow me to go out in the world like this, or you wanted it off of you?
Yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed being in the walker makeup. I thought what would have been funny is if I did like a series of photos of me doing very normal things as a walker. If I was like reading the paper or like eating a bowl of cereal, like just really normal things. I didn't end up doing that, obviously, but I thought that would have been really funny.
Yeah, we'd have all been checking it out like, this guy is a little nuts, but laughing, though, at the same time.
Okay, it's like in the chat room, there was one of the things they were talking about with the virus, that it, is to hit like 20 and 30-year-olds, and that children and elderly probably wouldn't be affected of it. What age, in other words, was Patrick? In other words, that he would been kind of in that 20 to 30 group, and he wouldn't. In Patrick's character, wasn't that a little bit younger than 20?
Yeah, he's about 15, 16. So he is a bit younger than that bracket that you're giving me.
Okay, it's like that. That's what they were saying on The Talking Dead, that the virus supposedly only hit like 20 to 30s, and that was in the chat room. They were saying that children and elderly. So just trying to get a feel for what age you were playing as Patrick.
Yeah, I got
just a little bit younger than that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I took it as. That you were a younger person, because I mean, not to say that a 20-year-old wouldn't be hanging out with Carl, but that's I don't think they'd be that tight.
Yeah, it surely would have been a little bit different, but yeah, Patrick was only about 15, 16.
Okay.
So it was pretty clear that you were going to do about 1.25 of an episode from the beginning, or was there any?
Yeah.
Maybe you last long?
No, it's very important to have this character have the fate that he has, because it is a catalyst for everything that starts happening in the 4th season. So it was very predestined before I even got on board that this needed to happen with this character in the way that it happened, so that this chain of events can occur. That's very important for all of our other characters. So it was definitely set in stone.
You know what sucks too is because, like I said, like at first you're kind of like, who's this guy? What's he up to? And then you weren't really feeling Patrick, but then as the episode goes on, you're like, I kind of like Patrick, and then he dies, and you're like, I think the hashtag was gonna be everyone hates Patrick, because we were just sitting there thinking like he's about to go berserk as a walker,
Well, he was so overtly nice. It's almost like you knew that he was gonna go. He's like. He's a little bit too bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to make it out of it.
Yeah, and very polite. I'm sorry, and always very polite. Young sir and and all that. That was very polite.
Yeah, he definitely was raised with a good set of manners.
Hey, and were you able to take away any swag from your time on The Walking Dead? Did you get to take the bloody shirt or anything like that?
No, to be honest, I really would not want to.
All right.
I wouldn't have wanted any of my bloody clothing.
What did your family and your friends think about your turn on The Walking Dead?
Everyone thought it was really cool once they got a chance to see it. Over the past 2 weeks, everyone was definitely really excited because they just never seen me, obviously, in that light.
Have you been noticed yet from Walking Dead?
Yeah, a few times already. It was funny. I was at Universal Studios like Halloween Horror Nights, and there was a Walking Dead haunted house, and I was standing outside of it talking to somebody, and a bunch of people started recognizing me. I mean, I was asking for it. I feel like standing where I was, but yeah, definitely a lot of people noticed.
So what was their response to you? I mean, were they asking you what's going to happen, or autograph, or was it warm?
Yeah, no, everyone was just like, "Hey, Patrick, it's Patrick. What's going on, man? You're a walker." Everyone was just yelling compliments about Patrick.
We've interviewed a lot of actors, and one of the questions that we like to ask them is, do they have a tendency to watch themselves, on screen and critique themselves? Are you one of those types of performers who like to watch yourself and critique, or do you just kind of stay away from your performances to keep it a little bit organic?
Yeah, I usually don't like to watch too much of what I do because of, it just makes you end up critiquing yourself a bunch. But this is actually something I did really want to watch because I couldn't wait to see how it turned out, and I actually love The Walking Dead, so I didn't want to miss any episodes.
A lot of times people, when it's a show that they really love, they're kind of iffy about being on it because of, I don't know. I never understood why I heard that from actors. So it's good to hear that not only did you, this is a show that you really like, you wanted to be a part of it, and you wanted to be a part of the whole, mythology of the show, because, like you said, your character is going to go down as a catalyst. So, when the show is off the air and stuff, people are going to remember your character. It's very memorable. So that must feel good to be a part of. Yeah, to be a part of a show you like, in that way, it has to be cool.
No, I definitely recognize how big of a deal it is for myself, and I know that I'm really, really lucky to have been a part of such a great show, because I know it's beloved by a lot of people, but I just happen to be one of them too. So to get to work on the show I actually like so much and watch every week, it's a real, really cool thing.
Now, one of the shows you were on was Everyone Hates Chris, and you played Greg on the show. And I think the show's been off the air now since, 2009 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So what was that experience like, being on that show?
Working on Everybody Hates Chris was great. It taught me a lot about television and acting in general, and a lot about comedy, obviously, because I was working with a lot of really funny people. So it was definitely a really big learning experience and growing experience for me, and I had a ton of fun shooting it. I just had so much fun on that set.
How was it working with the great Chris Rock? I know he was the executive producer.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because actually, as more time went on of shooting the show, as I got older, I began to respect Chris Rock 20 times more as I got older and understood his comedy better, his stand up. And I really admire him. I mean, he's incredibly talented, and he's always has been super nice to me. And yeah, he's really funny. He's awesome.
So, what did you take from what was your takeaway as far as the later things that you were a part of from being on that show? I mean, because you've done many voiceover work and being on The Walking Dead. What was the biggest lesson you learned from being on the show?
It taught me a lot about having a good work ethic every single day on a set, and just bringing as much as you can to the table, and enjoying the work that you're doing and making it natural. When you work on a set, early on, you kind of don't think about smaller things acting wise, and then you just get into better habits of making good choices as an actor with enough experience. And so being on a show for 4 years gets you into a rhythm of doing things that you didn't do in the beginning.
Oh, that's cool. Vincent, what types of roles that you haven't done yet, what type of roles are you aspiring to maybe get a hold of at some point in your career? Like any action movies or period pieces in your future?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably really like to do a period piece, to be honest. Those would be really cool. The wardrobe and the sets would be incredible.
Yeah, you get him on Downton Abbey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we got some pull. We'll get you in there, Vincent.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, now this kind of opens the door for you to do more other stuff. So who knows? You might be the next action hero.
Yeah,
right?
I certainly hope it opens some doors, and I hope people enjoyed the work.
Okay, so Phineas and Ferb. I know a lot of my friends were talking about it. We're very excited for you to come on the show and talk about it. What's that like, being the voice of Phineas, and the way that you were received by fans and whatnot?
I mean, Phineas and Ferb has been an awesome experience for me. I've been working on the show for 7 years, and I have loved every day of it. Every time I go in there, I have so much fun playing Phineas, and the fan reactions have been great to the show, so supportive, and it's really cool being a part of now a cartoon that a lot of people are going to grow up having loved, and a lot of families are able to watch.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, I mean, I did a show about a month ago, and it was about kid-friendly content, and the number one, it was like people were saying their number one kid-friendly content that adults can like as well. And I believe that that show was the number one of everything that people were calling in and talking about was that show. I mean, like everyone said, oh yeah, you know, because the show was basically about, if you know how if you have a kid and you know they want to watch kid-friendly, you know, you want them to watch kid-friendly stuff, but you may, as an adult, not necessarily like it because, you know, it's not for, you know, really for you. And that was the show that everyone was saying, you know, your kid will love it, and you know, you won't want to slit your wrist, you know, while you're watching it. You know, it's really
yeah,
really
no,
good.
I've heard that from quite a few parents. It's always really flattering to hear that.
Now, I have a question. It's like with your, when you do like when you're getting ready to go in to do some of your work, like say the voice work, do you have any kind of special like music or something that you listen to? I know some actors, they prepare things, or they kind of, you know, they have a certain ritual they do before they go in and do their work. Is there anything that you do, like say when you're going to do Phineas, that you listen to a certain song or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like to listen to Bob Dylan before I go do Phineas, because the range at which Bob Dylan sings is like a perfect range to do the Phineas voice, and so I just end up singing a lot of Bob Dylan.
See, I would have guessed DMX.
Well, you know what, Vincent? I'm actually going to ask you a fanboy type question. You know, since you've been a fan from the beginning of The Walking Dead, is there another character, if you had an opportunity to play on the show, which character would you choose?
I think definitely Rick, Andy Lincoln's part. I really like the things that his character has had to do and overcome, and he has an incredible character arc, and I would love to be able to do that. Yeah, I really like him as an actor too.
Well, and you would definitely last the longest.
Yeah, right.
That's
to the very end, right?
Yeah. Job security, and you're able to, because Rick does have a definite kind of a big range of things that he has to do. I just don't really know. I think by the end of the last episode, when he put back on his gun belt, I think that kind of told us that the old Rick was starting to creep back in there.
Yeah, I think that's what that was hinting as well.
All right, so we come to the point of the show we like to call rapid fire. Basically, the way rapid fire works is me, Yardley, and Olaf will pepper you with questions. These are questions to get a better idea of you, Vincent, the person. We won't get too personal like that. We're not going to ask you your fifth grade girlfriend or anything like that. But these are questions for the fans to understand you a little bit better. So this may not be necessarily work related, but definitely things to get closer to you. All right. So the first question we always start off with is about, I think it was last year at Coachella, they had a hologram concert of Tupac. So what dead musician or artist would you like to see a hologram concert of?
John Lennon.
Yes, he's probably the most of everyone. He's the one that's most requested. People want to see him back.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right, so Olaf.
Okay, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
I would probably go to London because I've been there once and I loved it, and I know there's so much more to see, so I'd probably go back.
Okay.
Hey, what was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Favorite cartoon growing up? I really liked House of Mouse.
Oh.
It was a show on Disney Channel.
Oh, wow.
What's your favorite guilty pleasure, sweet or junk food?
Junk food? I really like popcorn. I really like popcorn. It's actually it's a problem.
Olaf.
Okay. What advice would you give to anybody aspiring for voice or acting? What's helped you get to where you're at?
With specifically voice acting, I mean, I'd say like just try out doing a lot of voices. I mean, it's simple as that. Is just mess around with your voice and understand your vocal cords and how they work and what sounds you can make. And then with regular acting, I mean, if you're passionate about it and you're willing to take the time to get good at it, and you know, you love film and you love acting, I mean, then just go for it. You know.
Hey, what's something that you're good at that nobody knows about?
Something I'm good at that nobody knows about. I'd say I'm pretty good at darts. So.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Kind of random.
Yeah. If I run into you in a bar, I'm gonna have to challenge you to some darts. Now you're 21. I might bump into you at one. All right. Favorite action movie star of all time for you?
Favorite action movie star of all time? Maybe Daniel Craig now with the new James Bonds. Yeah, I really like the new series of James Bond films, so probably him.
Hey, if you had a preference of skydiving or bungee jumping, which one would you choose?
Skydiving every time.
Yeah, I'm with you. Doesn't bungee cord jumping seem like it's more dangerous for some reason?
Yeah, no, it's definitely way more dangerous.
Kinte, you get Kinte?
Yeah. What was the first car you ever owned?
First car I ever owned was a Jeep Liberty.
Oh wow! And you know I have to ask you this because this is one that I always ask everybody who's on the show. What would your favorite meal be? What would your last meal be before execution?
I would probably have like a big plate of pasta, some like tortellini.
Oh wow, that's it.
Love pasta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's enough for me. It's my last meal, guys.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, since you're 21, you might want to have a glass of wine too, you know.
Oh yeah,
a never-ending glass of wine.
Yeah.
Drink yourself to death, pretty much. Get that deer meat that that old Daryl was offering to you.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Olaf.
What was your most favorite part on The Walking Dead, or being on The Walking Dead, and what was your least favorite part about being on, or least favorite thing on The Walking Dead?
I'd say my favorite part was working with such an amazing cast and crew, because everyone was so great. And then the worst part was probably that it was over after the 2 episodes, because I really loved it.
Good. Yep.
Would you be in the sequel to Sharknado if they asked you?
You know what? I don't think I would. I think I'd pass on that one.
Hey, do you have any interest in like doing theater?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think doing theater at some point in my career would be awesome. I'd love to have the opportunity to do that.
Okay. And now this is one question we ask everybody that comes on our show. Where are you from originally?
I'm from upstate New York originally.
Okay, upstate New York. Okay, so none of us is from New York. So if being that we're not from New York, and let's say me or Olaf or Yardley is up in New York, and we wanted to take a young lady out, what are some cool things that we can do on this said date with the young lady of our choice?
It depends on what time of year it is. Because if it's winter time, you can do winter things like ice skating. But if it's summertime, you can go to any of the Great Lakes, or you can go to Lake Ontario, which is right there, and there are plenty of fun things to do.
Yeah, see, I'm from LA, so it won't be wintertime.
I know that's right.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Hey,
right,
Vincent, do you have any upcoming projects or anything special that we can plug for you? Anything that fans can look out for?
Yeah, I mean, I hope everyone keeps watching The Walking Dead and Phineas and Ferb, because we have a bunch of new stuff coming out for Phineas and Ferb. And then just I have a film coming out next year. I'm not quite sure when. We literally just wrapped it, but it should come out next year. But it's a horror film. So if you guys follow me on like Twitter or something, you'll hear more about that as more details are available.
No, what's the name of the film?
It's called Klinger.
Klinger. Oh, you play the lead, right? Klinger?
I do, yeah.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool, because we'll definitely grab you on Twitter, so be on the lookout for Indie Showcase 11 and Militant Marker and Olaf. We'll be following you, like, in 2 seconds.
Sweet.
And what is your Twitter?
It's Vinman17. I mean, if you guys just look up Vincent Martella, I'm the one that's verified, so it's pretty easy.
Oh, okay. All right, and we do have a caller. Caller, area code 617. What's your name and where are you calling from? Caller, area code 617.
I hear him. I thought that I heard some.
Yeah, I heard something too. Caller, you got one more shot.
It sounded like some.
Area code 617.
Maybe it's a shy caller.
I know, yeah. Well, caller, get it together. All right. Love live radio. Well, thank you so much, Vincent, for coming on the show. I mean, the fans are really excited. They're in the chat room just going on about you. Awesome. So, as you can say, we'll keep our eyes out for Klinger, as well as we're going to continue to watch The Walking Dead. We really enjoyed your character, Patrick. Unfortunately, it was not a long stint on the show, but a definite memorable one and an important one to the future of the show. So, wait, here we go. Let me give the caller one more shot. Gotta see. Let's see. Caller 617. Are you? What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't press 1.
That's okay.
I just wanted to listen.
Okay. So you don't have a question?
No.
All right.
Sorry about that, guys.
No problem. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right. So, like I said, thank you so much, and we'll definitely keep a lookout for you. Yardley, any last words?
Oh yeah, I would like to thank you as well, Vincent. It's such a treat, and everybody was excited, even though we went down to the wire. But you were great, and anytime you have anything coming up, we have open arms to help you promote anything that you're involved with.
Cool, that's so nice of you guys. Thank you so much for having me. I know it was really last minute, but I appreciate you guys having me on and talking about all the really fun stuff that we did on the show.
All right.
Yep.
So
yeah, it was great having you on. It's like a really nice talk with you. It's like, and like Yardley said, in the future, anything you got, just let us know. We'll be glad to have you back on later on.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, and just some show information. Tomorrow on our Hell on Wheels podcast, we'll be joined by Eddie Spears, who plays Joseph Blackmoon on the show. So everyone's really excited about that. That will be at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. And on Saturday, we will be joined on our Hell on Wheels show with James Shanklin, who played Aaron Hatch on Hell on Wheels. And on Sunday, we will have our fan roundtable once again for talking about walkers. And we will be talking about the new episode called Isolated. So that's some what we have on tap for that. So I'm Kinte.
I'm Olaf.
And I'm Yardley.
And we will see you.